for coming to the morning report. We are simulcasting this morning report. Hopefully, the audio and the video are close enough to be just off enough to be annoying. My name is Willie Lawson, and I am the host and the chief bottle washer and the janitor, who's really not doing that good of a job of fightbackmedia.com. Fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. I trust that you are well today. It's a glorious Monday morning. I was just outside. I had to get some groceries this morning, and it's gorgeous out. It's 76 degrees Fahrenheit already here in West Central Florida. It's lovely to be here. Sucks to be where you are. And no, you may not come here. No, you may come and visit. You may come to SeaWorld and Universal and Busch Gardens and spend all your money and then go home. All right, it is getting sillier and sillier and sillier and sillier out there. Um, we know that since this administration has taken over, and it isn't just this. I want to make it clear. I don't think it's just this administration that's taken over that you've seen the uptick in crime. I think the uptick in crime has been coming for a long time. I think that some of these district attorneys and the like that have been placed into office with monies that can be traced back to open societies and to George Soros and the like are letting criminals run free basically. And I think that that's what's really happening. Some of these people are just running free, running rampant, running crazy, so to speak. And with that, you're starting to see an uptick in crime because there's a mentality that there isn't anything they can do to you. We saw kids involved in the drug trade early on in the drug trade because they were kids. The adults would say, "Hey, man, I need to take this. I need to take this package over to the blah blah blah, and just leave it." Okay, and so they would. So the kid would get picked up for possession, and you may lose a little bit, but if you could pay that kid what his entire household got paid for in a month by taking a package down to the local grocery store, that money's hard to turn down. Hell, that money would be hard to turn down for me. And knowing that if the kid got busted and he was 13, he wasn't going to jail. He wasn't even going to juvie. He was going to go to court at some point, and the judge was going to go, "Don't do that anymore." And he still had a pocket full of money. The money was too much to turn down. Too much to turn down. And now, and that's been going on for a while. And that's been going on for a while. And because that's been going on for a while, it's just sort of everything like mushrooms. And now, kids believe now, they still do, that no matter what, they're sort of bulletproof in all of this, especially from the court system. Nothing's going to happen to them. They see people commit crime, get arrested, and then are home for dinner, or they're home for breakfast in the morning, and they didn't have to pay, and they're not stuck in jail because they didn't have to pay any bail. So when you have this sort of no bail or ridiculously low bail situation going on, and people aren't getting stuck in prison, what's the incentive not to commit crime? What's the incentive not to commit crime if it isn't some sort of internal spiritual thing that you have? What's the incentive not to? You're right, there isn't any incentive. But our girl, your girl, Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, basically says she's out with a new excuse for why crime continues to rise in her city. It's still not her fault. It's still not the police department's fault. It's still not any of that. Um, in Chicago, like a lot of other cities, um, carjacking is are among the most violent crime on the rise. The Chicago Police Department says that in their city, 57% of carjackings are committed by juveniles. Most carjackings are committed by kids. And what hasn't happened is that somebody hasn't been trying to, jack somebody's car, and they reach over in the in the glove box or in the console and fire off a round because they fear for their life. At least we don't know that's happened yet, because I think if it would have happened, we'd know, because it'd be the individual trying to save themselves and their property that would be in trouble, and it would be a sad thing if one of these poor innocent children got murdered or killed in the commission of a crime. Um, Lori Lightfoot believes that these people, these children, are committing crimes because they feel unloved. Yes. Here's what she says. She says, there are too many young people in this room that feel unloved. And we need to change that if we're going to change the trajectory of their lives. She said this during an event with young residents of her city over the weekend. She added that Chicago cannot arrest ourselves out of crime. If you live in Chicago, get out. But you can't come here. You got to go to someplace you like New York or Los Angeles. But you can't come here. Sorry. When the mayor of your city says, basically, there's nothing we can do. These kids don't feel loved. So they are committing crime because they don't feel loved. They always feel loved when one of them ends up dead, and the whole city turns out to mourn. The whole city turns out to mourn them, and the police department or a private citizen is now being held responsible for their death. Then they're loved. But in the meantime, hey, listen, I know you don't feel good about yourself, so go out there and commit some crimes. It's all right. I understand. We understand. Elections have consequences. Now, will the citizens of Chicago, will they decide to go another direction? I don't expect that the citizens of Chicago will decide to somehow decide that they are going to, they're going to have a Ronald Reagan Republican, in office, and throw out their city council, and and put in some sort of Donald Trump city council. That's not going to happen. But are they going to ever realize that the direction they are going is not the direction that's going to save them? We cannot arrest ourselves out of crime. Well, what do you do with criminals? You pull them out of the society. Now, once you pull these people, these children, out of the society, then you can work with them and work on them all you want, because I believe that's necessary. I think any thinking person believes that's necessary. I don't think taking a 14-year-old who's involved in a carjacking that no one gets hurt, and locking that 14-year-old away for 30 years is a good idea. I don't. But I do think that 13-year-old doesn't, because they don't need to sit there rotting in prison, learning from hardened criminals, that's your opportunity, because they ain't got nothing else to do, is to reach that kid, and hopefully, prayerfully, that you get to do something. You get to help that kid, and when that kid's released back into the society, then you don't have a hardened criminal. I think we have an opportunity. So arresting them may be the best thing for them. And we've heard story after story. The best thing people say, the best thing ever happened to me, that I got caught, because they were able. A lot of people were able to find God. A lot of people were able to realize the path they were on. They saw the people in jail with them, and saw that they didn't want to go down that road. But it's an opportunity to simply not have any consequences for this sort of crime, and just saying, well, they're kids and they're sad, and life is hard, and COVID. You're dooming them and your city to chaos and death and destruction forever. Are you not? Don't you think? I think so. All right. Listen, because we are doing this, and I just thought about doing this right now, so we don't have time. I didn't have time to insert commercials or record commercials. So I'm looking over here to see what the stream looks like. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I'm just going to have to tell you. The Sun and Fun Air Festival in Lakeland is coming up. I think it's next weekend. Let me see. Sun and Fun. Now I mentioned that because one of the people that we mentioned, one of the folks that we mentioned. Let me see here. Sun and Fun. It's the largest air show in the Southeast for sure. And it is one of the people that we mention all the time are our friends at Icon Air. Icon Air are the people who build the A5. Yes, actually, it's starting tomorrow. The Sun and Fun fly-in starts tomorrow, April 5th, and goes through April 10th in Lakeland, Florida. Our friends from Icon with the A5 are going to be there. It's my plan, hopefully, prayerfully this weekend, I don't know when, probably Saturday afternoon, or maybe even Friday afternoon, to cruise on over there, take some pictures, and do a little video. So if you live in the area, I'd love to see you, I'd love to meet you, hug your neck, shake your hand. And the Sun and Fun fly-in at Lakeland International, so it's going to be a gas. If you're looking to get into aviation, especially this level of aviation, sport flying, especially in a place like Lakeland where there's thousands of lakes, and this is the A5 that is built for that. It's a plane, it's a boat. Yes. It's a plane, it's a boat. Yes, it is. So meet me over there. If you have any questions about the A5, send me an email at iconA5info@gmail.com. iconA5info@gmail.com. That'll be cool. We're also going to see if we can get over to Blooming Days Flower Shop a little later this week too. Do some videos from there. If you want to meet me, and I'll let you know when that is through our social media channels, and we'll talk then. All right, let's see what we got going on. Oops, that's Lori. You know, we did the story a couple days ago about this UCLA diversity chief head. You know, because diversity is our strength and all that stuff, and all that happy horse hooey. This person, Jonathan Perkins, is her name, the director of race and equity at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, who in a series of tweets ranted against Justice Clarence Thomas when he found out that we found out that Justice Thomas was in hospital and had an infection. So normal people said, "Oh, I hope he gets well, get well soon." Prayers and blessings, healing. This guy said, "Hey, he can go. He could choke for all. This guy here, Perkins, said he could choke for as far as I'm concerned." Now, yes, Perkins is black, and so is Justice Thomas. But this love and compassion from someone who is the director of race and equity, right? Everybody, no matter where they came from, having the same outcome. That's what equity is. Opportunity, equality is everybody having the same starting point. And then, pow, and then good luck, go. Equity is, we don't care where you started. If we have to push some people back, hold some folks back, hold some people back, and pull some people artificially along so everybody finishes in the same place. Even if the people who don't deserve it finish ahead of the people who do because of past crimes and misdeeds of the ancestors of those who are running the race now, then that's okay. That's what equity is about. Let there be no doubt. That's what equity is all about. That's what it's about. So anyway, that's what this dude is in charge of. Basically said that that he didn't care if Thomas died. He was kind of hoping for it. But we found out something about him. While this cat was a student at the University of Virginia Law School in 2011, he made national news when he claimed that he was a victim of racial profiling by the school's police department. I think some of the scariest security people are university police. I always have been. They're that one step up over the rent-a-cop, over Wackenhut. At least I think the people at Wackenhut know that, hey, this is this is $8 an hour job. I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I ain't trying to get hurt, right? So at least they have something that that tugs on them, that pulls them back, that brings them back to reality. Where I don't think campus police do. I think campus police are so afraid that all hell's going to break loose, and they're going to be in the middle of it. That a lot of times they tend to overstep, especially because you're dealing with students, sometimes as young as 18, sometimes as young as 17, 16 even sometimes, and you're dealing with a lot of people who sometimes are inebriated, drunk, and unruly, no doubt, and hard to get along with. So they have a tendency to want to make sure that they clamp down on what's going on as soon as possible. And sometimes tend to overreact. I think sometimes, not everybody, but sometimes. Anyway, so he said he was the victim of racial profiling from the University of Virginia Police Department. Perkins maintains he was the case resulted in FBI involvement, which Perkins maintains was a coerced recantation. Years later, Perkins went public with a full story alleging that a federal agent pressured him to recant his initial claim. When he was a young law student, Perkins claimed that the campus police racially profiled him until he recanted the allegations weeks later. 6 to 7 years passed before Perkins decided to set the record straight. According to well, you know why? Because he had to graduate. In a 2018 Associated Press expose, where he claimed he was under duress when he said he fabricated the tale about how 2 white cops harassed him because he was black. I want people to know what actually happened. I want people to know that people of color don't have to make these things up. The years-old report noted that a statute of limitations for a charge for making a false statement expired 2 years earlier. So he knew remember, he's a law student. He knew he was in the clear, so he could go ahead and claim it, right? Perkins mentioned at the time that he was no longer worried authorities could bring charges against him. Of course he wasn't worried, because he knew that the statute of limitations was up. UVA student-run newspaper, the Cavalier Daily, reported that a university's press release announcing the confession, campus police decided not to press charges or treat it as a criminal case. He was trying to gain notoriety. Well, why? Because that's what these folks do. That's how they do it. That is how they do it. That's how they roll. It is annoying. It's irritating. It's expensive because investigations are done, and man hours are used, and so they end up being very expensive. But this cat was on his path to be the director of race and equity somewhere, and he landed as the director of race and equity at UCLA. The same person who was okay with wishing death even on Clarence Thomas, a black man, on the Supreme Court. It's nutty, isn't it? Not surprising. Unfortunately not surprising. Unfortunately not surprising at all. Frustrating, but not surprising. Alrighty, let's see here. We got what we got going. Question: do Democrats like fentanyl? Fentanyl. Do, do they like fentanyl? You would think that anybody would, knowing the dangers of fentanyl, knowing how easy it is to get hooked, knowing how easy it is to to overdose, and heroin and other opioids are being cut, have fentanyl components in them, um, how dangerous it is. It's already temporary. It's already on the temporary Schedule One drugs list. You would think that any bill that would come in front of anybody concerning the banning or the further criminalization of possession or manufacture of fentanyl would be a nonpartisan. It would be easy, right? I'd like to. The bill is that fentanyl is bad. Votes. 209 people say it's not bad. This is interesting. This is interesting. House Democrats block another GOP effort to crack down on fentanyl trafficking. More than 219 actually. House Democrats Friday voted against a Republicans' motion to recommit on the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act that was offered by Representative Bob Latta, a Republican from Ohio, and to advance H.R. 6184, also known as the Halt All Legal Trafficking of Fentanyl Act, HALTFA. HALT FA. Okay. HALT Fentanyl Act. The goal of the bill is to permanently place fentanyl-related substances onto the Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. It's already there temporarily. The goal of the bill is saying, okay, now fentanyl is on the list permanently. I would be okay with taking marijuana off the Schedule 1 list and putting fentanyl on. Fentanyl is a dangerous subject. It's a dangerous substance. Now, I know my libertarian friends are out there going, no more drug laws. No more drug laws. Fentanyl is dangerous. Fentanyl ain't marijuana. You can't be a functioning person on fentanyl. You can be function. You can function. People function on heroin. It's crazy, but they do. They function on cocaine. Not as much on crack cocaine, but on powder cocaine, people function. People live their lives. It's destroying them. It's destroying them physically. It's destroying them mentally. It's destroying them spiritually, but they function. Fentanyl, which this isn't really fentanyl. I don't want anybody to think, oh my God, that dude's got fentanyl. This is lens cleaner. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. This is lens cleaner for my glasses. But I just wanted to do that for dramatic effect. Fentanyl, people don't get that choice. We can see what fentanyl does to people. So if there is a Schedule 1 drug list, fentanyl needs to be on it. House Democrats' opposition to Halt Fentanyl Act reportedly stems from its provision for mandatory minimum sentences for fentanyl traffickers. So if there's a mandatory, they wanted to include a mandatory minimum sentence for somebody who is trafficking death, poison, death. Recently, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention announced that 105,752 Americans died from drug overdoses from October 20 to October 21st. 105,752 died in a year from drug overdoses. Wow. A lot of said on the House floor. Down to our southern border, Customs and Border Protection are confiscating records amount of fentanyl coming across from Mexico. For example, The CBD seized over 11,000 pounds of fentanyl from October 2020 to September 2021, which is 41%, as a 41% increase over the previous year. That's enough fentanyl to kill 2.5 billion people, the population of the U.S. 7 times over. This isn't pot. My libertarian friends, this isn't pot. It's not even cocaine. This is not marijuana. So I would have to wonder why do you think that Democrats, 219 of them in the House, decided that they were not going to support HALT, FA. Midterms are coming up. 105,752 people are not going to get to ask that question. But you can ask that question. What do we do moving forward? Oh, by the way, yes, this is the day that the House, the Senate Judiciary Committee are going to go ahead and push forward the nomination of Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Senate floor. There's going to be a tie in the Senate Judiciary Committee. There's going to be a tie along party lines, and the motion will be made that to take a floor vote. And that motion will pass, and with Susan Collins already saying that she is going to go ahead and vote for Judge Jackson, Judge Brown. There won't be any need for Kamala Harris to waddle herself up to Capitol Hill to cast the deciding vote. Now, I've said forever, if you've watched or if you've listened to any of the shows, that this was a foregone conclusion. This was going to happen. There was nothing Republicans can do to stop it. And I know that's frustrating to you, but there was really nothing they could do to stop it. A lot of information was put out, her leniency on pedophilia crimes. All that stuff was put out, and that's fine, and that's good. But it was a foregone conclusion. It was going to happen. If Joe Biden nominated a House plant at that point, Democrats were going to support it, and they were going to fight for it, and they were going to stick together. That was going to happen. We just got to pray that everybody on the Supreme Court stays healthy. That Joe Biden doesn't have an opportunity to replace someone like Clarence Thomas. That he doesn't get that opportunity. That's what we have to pray. And it's going to, and it's kind of an interesting thing. At least Kamala Harris doesn't have to have this big moment for herself. Because I don't know if you guys understand. Do you know what Susan Collins did? She stole a moment for Kamala Harris. That Kamala Harris was going to be the tie-breaking vote to get the first black woman on the Supreme Court. That's something that you can't overcome in the midterms. You can't. It's too much of a story. It's a tearjerker. And now that's not going to happen. Unless you get someone like Joe Manchin to not confirm. But I believe he is. That's where we are. Get ready for that later on this week. All right, I got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, from the bottom of my heart, take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.